Okay, and we are in business. Good morning, Mark, and good morning, everyone.
Anna, darling, good morning.
How are you? How you doing?
Living the dream, sweet. You?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. We seem to have a little bit of a delay. I just wanted to ask quickly the guys who was watching. Oh my God, sorry, my own thing came on. Can I just put the microphone in? Can you please guys confirm whether you can hear me better than last week or not? Am I basically quieter than Mark, or am I the same? Could you just please let me know? Because if it's worse, then they'll just have to take the mic out. Can anybody let me know?
I can hear you.
No, you can always hear me. It's everybody else that happens afterwards. Right, okay. No? I assume everybody can hear me. Oh, 14 people joined. Okay. Perfect. So, okay. Maverick, sounds good. Okay.
Perfect, yeah.
So, right. So, hopefully, that's going to make me sound a bit better than it did before. Right. Okay. That's fine. So, I do apologize for this. I just didn't want people to like saying the same thing. I'm trying to do something about it, but it's not always happens. Anyway, so let's kick off with loud and clear. Awesome. All right. So, right, peeps, welcome to our weekly live chat. So today we're talking about the supermarkets. Of course, we're going to talk about the problem, and then we're going to be talking about the solutions. Well, as far as we can go with that. So, shall we kick off then, guys? Right. So today we're basically talking about we know the idea, Mark, what you're doing, and the whole principle of trying to make people understand how bad the supermarkets are. Many people do understand, but some people are not. Again, we're still relying on them in many cases, totally understandable. But it's just certain tactics or certain things that are used that are, some of them are rather horrendous. So we're going to start with, I think, a pretty bad one, and then they get a bit better, and then they'll get a bit worse. Anyway, so apparently, okay, and I'm going to refer guys to my list and stuff. So apparently supermarkets are allowed, right, to have the seasonal displays, or we talk about the local displays. We're talking about, for example, like Welsh potatoes or anything else. And they always, quite often, you probably find they have those big flags, right? Like normally Union Jack or the Welsh flag. Well, believe this or not, and I think I was actually horrified by seeing that, quite often the produce that sits underneath could be actually imported from different countries. Yeah. So deception to see what you, if you go to the shop, or to you guys, if you go to the supermarket, you see seasonal, aisle, and it's got Union Jack in there, and it's got potatoes underneath that. I'm just giving them as an example. You would assume, right, that those potatoes are from where?
Well, you'd think they are, but don't ever make an assumption when you walk into a supermarket, Anna. That's one thing I will tell you.
I know, but basically, the whole idea is, so they could, and they do, not saying with the potatoes or the many other things, they basically put a Union Jack or the Welsh flag in there, but the produce underneath that, not necessarily actually from this country or from UK or from Wales. And the reason they actually get away with that is because the Union Jack flag or Welsh flag is actually part of the display and not part of the product packaging, right? How stupid is that? But we as humans, we just fall in for that, don't we? You think you make those split decisions and assume. But that's like the most probably horrific thing for people who are trying to be more choosing local food. See, when we went to France, they've got this spot on, right? You go in a supermarket, they've got massive aisles of fruits and vegetables. The biggest sign that's above each of the fruit and vegetables is the country of origin. So they have their grapes, they've got a massive sign to say it's from France, or massive sign saying it's from Italy, Spain. It's really clear. So nobody has to go there and go, oh yeah, where are they from? Oh, Honolulu. Oh no, thanks. Ridiculous for us. Anyway, so Mark, you kick off with your favorite one, or the worst one of the worst ones. Go on, your pet hate.
Well, so one of my real big gripes, Anna, is the fact that as a greengrocer, I remember I had Trading Standards come to see me one day because the lady complained that I'd weighed the produce in the bag. Now we had the scales set up so it took off the weight of the bag, okay?
Yeah, gotcha.
But I can't put the weight of the paper bag, which weighs nothing, onto the fruit and veg.
Yeah.
But Tesco's, Sainsbury's, all of the supermarkets can fill meat with 20% of water to make the weight up.
Yeah.
How can that, in any way, shape, or form? And then the water obviously goes stagnant, turning the meat sour. But that's okay.
I do know why is that
ever in anybody's head seem acceptable?
Do you know why is this? Because I've done a video on this one. It's apparently because, believe it or not, water, it's an ingredient. Because water is an ingredient. This is why they allowed legally to do this, because water counts as an ingredient. And I get the outrage. Since when, okay, water is an ingredient in the meat, which is a product itself, right? Stupid. But apparently, as long as it's like under 15%, that's off you go allowed, and it's absolutely fine. This is my massive gripe with the whole labeling system, with the whole... It's horrendous. Sorry, we got delay. They hate us, don't they?
Surely, though, it's only an ingredient if it's within the meat when the meat is on the pasture.
No, because apparently they could, what do you call it? They could brine it as well.
It's proper crazy.
I know. In some instances, there were research found in specific cases up to 30%, or they're legally allowed to have 15 and under, but they have to mention this on the label, like, you know, ingredient, water, chicken, or, you know, meat, whatever. But apparently there's quite a lot more than what meets the eye. And this is why, again, people, when excuse me, when people cook, like, say, a chicken breast, obviously naturally meat got moisture, but when you cook it, it's gone from like decent thingy to like something like that. So now if I do cook chicken, I still have to, like, you know, to make sure that you upsize your portions to make sure you don't end up going hungry in the end of the day. Right. But yeah, it's unfortunately the world we live in. And this is, again, what really, if people do have...
Just don't go to a supermarket, Anna.
Yeah,
just don't go to a supermarket.
If it's possible, if people have the butchers, but then again, you got to trust. Everybody's so corrupt, don't they? You have to be really, really careful to what you do, what you choose. So yeah, right. So next one, right on the list. Okay, some of you might be as well. I think people commented before. Apparently, when they increase the prices on a specific product, or if it's due to be increased, then apparently they do the promotion stuff. So like buy one get one free, or buy X amount for that amount of time. So basically, when the promotion ends, it's kind of like goes up to the price, like before it's been after it's been increased. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they fiddle and they hide the promotions for the price increases, because by the time you think you're getting a deal, but then price goes up and gets to sorry, I'm just gonna check my sound. Sorry guys, it goes up to like full price. Sorry, I'm just checking my sound. I do apologize, guys, because I know. Still quiet though, aren't I? Anyway, I tried to shout louder with my sore throat. Right, okay, so the multi-packs and the large packs, that they are all a false economy in a lot of cases. See, I'm like, okay, I would normally think, and I think a lot of people think this way, I think they go in according to the research and stuff, they go on the basis that people assume that buying a bigger pack, they assume that people that buy a bigger pack go by volume and no longer check the price. So apparently then, in a lot of cases, the price of the bigger stuff actually dearer than a smaller packet.
Yeah, so people think they're getting a wholesale price because it's a bigger packet, but actually what they've done is put the per kilo price up anyway. Yeah, so people not checking, so that's important. So it's an important thing to check the thing. See, one thing I know for fact is the rice. It seems to be a lot of people buy the bulk rice. You know, the big ones like 5 kilos and stuff. But in fact, they actually work out dearer if you're to buy, in a lot of cases, if you buy them individually. It's silly, isn't it? I know, but how can that even be legal? You know, this is the question. How do they get away with it? They get away with it because no one questions it. We're all in such a hurry. We just grab things and run, and you know. I know. Technically, obviously, there is the little thing in the bottom, isn't it? Price per kilo or price per 100 grams. And this is very important to obviously trying to compare when you buy it. See, I find this sometimes difficult or not fair. Sometimes they are priced per 100 grams. Sometimes it's price per kilo. Sometimes it's price per thing. And sometimes it's price per, I don't know, 50 grams or something. It's not always like straightforward. If you know. That's why they do it. I know. And a lot of shops are different as well to what they actually do put and how they put it. Sometimes you've got to be like, just get a magnifying glass just to see what the bleeding price per thing. This is what the best way of people doing is to understanding these stupid tactics. Right. Next one, the own brands, right? So who thinks that? So who thinks that the supermarket own brands are subpar of a main brands? What do you reckon, Mark? Well, I know a friend of mine used to work at a beans factory, a Heinz beans factory, and they used to produce beans for 17 different packaging, all Heinz beans,
Yeah.
All they used to change the ingredient very slightly, but it all came out of the same factory, all the same beans, all the same juice. It was just the contents changed. There was slightly more beans in the Heinz than there was in, let's say, in one of the home brands, you know, Happy Shopper or something. But they're all made in the same factory.
They just add on a little bit more sauce. They add on a little bit more sauce. I've seen a video a few years back, and somebody actually took the baked beans, like from a posh brand and from the rubbish brands, right, the bottom brand, and then they put them on the plate, and they actually counted the amount of beans in each tin. Right, that was, I do admire the enthusiasm and the time somebody had to do it, but it was really funny. But it was I don't know, like 20 beans difference or something. It was very little in them. But yeah, spot on, Mark. Absolutely spot on. The apparently majority of the tins that are supermarket brands are actually not the supermarket brands. They are made by the leading brand, but different packaging and no advertising or no marketing. That's why those products are so cheap. I get it, not in everything probably, but
and I think an important one here, Anna, is the fact that excuse me, when we look at things like the challenges, what there's been around Bovia, it's really important that people understand how that works, because people will say, "Oh no, I don't buy Arla. I don't buy Arla milk. I buy Tesco's own." Well, it's made by Arla. All the home branded milk is all made by Arla or Muller, and that's all the same company in the background. So people think, "Oh, I'm not getting this ingredient because of this," but it's not true. You know, people really have to. You've got to really do your research.
Yeah, well, people with the supermarkets brands, right? The average like Tesco's or Asda's milk. All people gotta do is just turn the packet upside down, and have a look if it's got Arla stamp on the plastic itself. To obviously tell people that it's made by them. Huh?
They've removed it.
Have they?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't buy the Welsh one.
They've now removed that, but they did it after the Bovia because they realised that people got wise to that and did videos about it.
Yeah. I just wonder, do people still care about that? Do people consider, because it feels like obviously not a lot been happening. I wonder whether people kind of give up the hope, or do people like stuck with what they do now?
No, it's interesting because I was on a show the other day, and there was a guy on there from the Raw Milk Society or Association, and they were talking about there's a Raw Milk Association, and they're talking about how the raw milk sales are up nearly 40% year on year. Oh. And this year they jumped 100%, and I think that's as a direct result of
raw milk. Did you say
going on with the supermarkets?
Sorry? Did you say raw milk? Sorry, because I lost you then.
Yeah, raw milk. Yeah, so raw milk sales have gone 100% in the last year.
Yeah, wow. Because I know there's a lot of people saying
show that people are getting fed up with the crap over here, and they're sliding across to good quality food now. Yeah,
but don't forget as well, like when this happens, obviously that's probably the case. Oh my God, how many? Couple of weeks back, 3 weeks back, there was the thing in the news warning people there was a listeria outbreak where the raw milk and the cheese made from unpasteurized milk, and it was in France and it was in the UK. It's like, beware, every time you buy cheese or milk, make sure it's pasteurized product because you don't want to get listeria. No, I wait until I buy your lettuce and tomatoes and then I get listeria because it's full of
absolutely
human feces. That's what we'll do instead. It's magical, isn't it? Right. Anyway, so next one, the layout. I think, again, people are probably aware that the way the shops are designed is basically to catch our attention for the naughty stuff, to be kind of at the eye level and right there and there. Because you don't really walk in our Tesco's, when you walk in, it's generally first thing. And I think it's horrendous, really. Rather than, targeting, they talk about the obesity in children and, trying to ban certain foods and buy one, get one free. What's the first thing, right? You walk in a supermarket, which is place for food. What's the first thing you see, right? What is it? What do you see in your?
I don't go in supermarkets, so I couldn't comment.
No, but our sorry, I'm just trying to read comments as well. Yeah, our the two of the ones I've got around, and the biggest one, honestly, and I'm catching it has cages and cages full of biscuits, crisps, chocolate snack bars, and I mean not just little cardboard. They are like pallet cages full of this nonsense right at the front. But the price is bigger than the product itself, right there. All right, so where's the food? Where's the food? They're like, people come in there to get food, but no, it's right there. But apparently, it's a human thing. I don't know. applicable to many. I don't know whether you know, but to me, I get in there. I don't pay attention because it's not of interest to me. I go straight to the vegetables or straight to the meat or whatever, for example. So that, but apparently it's all strategically there to trick us. So I don't know. Do people feel tricked really?
Well, yeah, and I think that the people probably don't feel tricked, down, and that's the problem. I had a friend who worked for Sainsbury's as one of their store managers before, and sadly he's died now. But when he was alive, he was telling us the psychology of how the store's laid out. Yeah. And it's very, very clever, because what most people want when they come in is either a pint of milk or a loaf of bread. Yeah. So what you need to do is put those two things as far away from each other as you can. That's why the milk's near the fruit and veg section when you go in, and the bread will be up the other end of the store, because they need you. And that's why you're guided to go around all the aisles with special offers on the end, because that way there's more chance of you going all the loops. And then every time you go down an aisle, the chances are you pick one thing up. Even if you don't want it, you're guided to pick, the toilet paper's on special offer. In case there's another pandemic, I better put some aside. You know, the sweets are on special offer. I'll get some for the grandkids. The breakfast syrup. And as you walk around, you end up with 20 things rather than the 2 things you come in for. And that's how it's done.
I think we're all guilty that this is what the people say, get shopping list and stick to it if you're trying to like save money or not, you know, being caught up by certain stuff. But the only thing, if I do go, I always go past the reduced section, and I don't really go to Tesco's anymore. I think the prices are horrendous, and I do mean horrendous. If I buy like my meat bargains, and I don't have butcher around. It used to be, it closed down. Asda does really good, what do you call it, like exceptional range. So I go there and I buy stuff because there don't seem to be such a rip of prices, although they are, but I'm likely to get stuff on the sticker. But anyway, that's another question anyway. So then the design. So while we talked, you just talked about the bread, right? And again, I find this rather horrendous. I'm not sure where I've written it down, but anyway, bread. Apparently the fresh baked bread in store, in fact, a lot of the times, or 99% of times, is actually imported from different countries, frozen. I thought
I can't speak for all supermarkets, but what I do know is that Tesco's, because I know how their system works, that they have all their dough and everything comes in ready made. Yeah. And they just put it in the ovens. So it's already made. It just comes in blue trays. They take it out, put it in the oven, and they know if they put that lump of dough inside that oven, press 12 minutes, it bakes that roll perfectly. And so there's no quality or qualification involved in this. This is just click and play, you know.
But they don't come from UK though. Apparently they're not come from UK. It's not a UK supplied. It doesn't surprise me at all. But if you think you go there and you want to buy, so if you don't want to buy the so-called, sandwich loaf, the sliced stuff that's full of human hair, bristles, and God knows 40 ingredients that shouldn't be there. And if you opt in to buy a homemade loaf, whatever, the bloomers that they do at the bakery section, they of course will be a little bit better because they do have less ingredients than what's in the other ones. But the fact is, though, they're still imported. And I think, how hard is that really? Surely big supermarkets will have their massive warehouse that will produce that in this country rather than importing the bleeding bread. Come on. This is reliance on bloody imports.
Anna, that's exactly where we are. I noticed someone's put in the comments about folic acid. And that's one of the things which Kennedy's been talking about, is causing autism in kids. And obviously I think it's next month, isn't it? They're going to be putting that in all bread.
Well, folic acid.
If ever there was a reason to have organic bread. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard of that.
Have you not seen this on the news?
No. Sorry, I'm just reading this. Yeah. No, I haven't. No. But to be fair, I don't blame them.
They're so folic acid is one of the things they're putting in. I presume it's a preservative.
Right. I don't know. But to be fair, we know they're going to be adding probably more stuff in there. I'm not surprised, to be fair. They're putting so much stuff in there. Who's going to check? There's going to be another product added on. What should be done, if that's the case, if you do check, like, when they do a new recipe on the biscuits or something, they always put, new improved recipe. All right, we'll do this to the bread then. If it's new recipe, let people know so they know what's changed, Horrendous. So I do apologize. I've had a bit of a cold. But I've seen today as well, sorry, digressing slightly, but in terms of the new recipes, right? Because price of the cocoa went up, and obviously we've talked about it, and they were telling us the chocolate's going to be going up in price. I've seen an article literally this morning that apparently some brands of chocolate had to be downgraded to chocolate flavor because they cut the amount of cocoa so much, it no longer legally now fits to definition of chocolate. You know, I've done the food exposed on the chocolate anyway, but this was the like a biscuit. I think it was a penguin and something else. They're apparently basically now coating this in oh my god, there's two oils. It's oh my
Probably
god,
mud known them.
yeah, and a little bit of chocolate, so it's not actually no longer. And they had to rephrase their packaging. It used to be, oh, your favorite biscuit covered in chocolate or something. Now your favorite biscuit for lunch snack or something like that, something horrendous. So basically it's more oil and more crap on the top
biscuit.
of the
yeah.
more shite on the top of the biscuit. That's no longer chocolate, and that's people got to understand now. I think chocolate is going to become literally a luxury, something that if you truly want to enjoy chocolate, not a mixture of not coconut oil,
100%
soy oil, and
it's going to become an absolute luxury in the future.
it is. I wanted to try this. I haven't had the time really to do so, but I want to try to make my own chocolate. Buy some cocoa solids, buy some proper oil, not butter, and then just try to see how it goes. But this is the way the stuff is going, isn't it? We are honestly eating, or they are feeding us, just rubbish. Oh, but you know what though?
It's not difficult to make chocolate.
No, but the price is not going to change though, because they're doing this and they're changing the coating because they're thinking of us, right? Not our health though, but they're thinking about our wallets. So they don't have to put the price up. So they're just going to just change the coating to oil coating rather than the chocolate coating. Just to you and me can save ourselves some money. Crazy, huh?
Yes.
Oh, could just go on about it. You know, it makes my blood boil.
They're just too good to us.
Yeah. So apparently, we've got the local shortages. And again, it did cross my mind before and we talked about it. So apparently, sometimes the supermarkets will hold the specific stock down to create the perceived scarcity of the product. So basically, buy before it runs out. So if they are got overstock of something or specific brand or specific size of the brand, they will withhold the stock back to make it look like it's a shortage. So people then buy up and stock up what's there, and then they just replenish the shelf by 2 or 3. And you know what? I've been guilty of that, and I know exactly what it's like. Have you ever? Well, if you don't go there, you won't know. But I popped into, again, I think it was Tesco's at the time, and I was buying the long life milk, UHT milk, right? Just to put in the prepper pantry in the back of a cupboard. And they had like, I don't know, 6 box of 6 left. And it's normally full of the oat milk and stuff because people just don't buy it, but well, some do anyway. But anyway, everything was full apart from that, their cheap version of their long life milk. And I'm like, oh, I don't like the look of that because I don't rely on milk. I make yogurt, but with the fresh milk. But for the prepper pantry, I will stock up, and occasionally if we're desperate, we'll use it. But anyway, yeah. And it is the psychology of people. And even for me, the person that bloody knows, right? I'm like, oh no, I need to stock up and buy some more. It works. But I actually can't believe this is a known tactic to withhold the products. I think you mentioned that before.
Yeah, there's so many tactics they've got. So what you've got to understand is that they employ people to come up with tactics to make people buy. It is literally warfare. That's the problem. And we as normal general public do not believe that people will behave like that. So when they do, we let them get away with it because we don't believe they will do it.
Yeah. But they do, yeah. I know. So question, is chocolate truly a treat if it's there on everything? Yeah, it's not a treat if it's on anything, but I suppose on everything, if they are, it's not really true chocolate, isn't it? That's on the coatings of the biscuits and everything. It's not true chocolate. Even the basic, to be fair, even the, I'm not going to name the name, but one of the famous one that's been caught that they have a lot of lead in it, God knows what, other naughty stuff in the chocolate. It's not really true chocolate. True chocolate, it will be a true chocolatier, not the one with the bunny with the little bell. A true person that will deal with the chocolate. The ones like, I remember being in London and they had proper chocolatiers where you looking at a tiny little chocolate in the little rosette little things, and you pay like £5 for, I don't know what, 20 grams of chocolate. That's a true chocolate. What we have in the supermarkets now, really not the true chocolate. You'd be, I think, hard pushed to find. You'd be hard pushed to find I think to be fair,
let's call it what it is.
Yeah. To be fair, I think the most ones people don't really buy, but it's the high cocoa content. That's as best as high as close you'll get to the quality chocolate. It's like 80-90% cocoa. That's chocolate. That's probably the best chocolate you ever have. Bitter, but but you will get actually the benefits, because the idea is what people say. Oh my God, we literally have a storm coming now.
Yeah, you want that bitterness. That's what gives you that. That's the woo.
Yeah, but people say, do you know, originally chocolate meant to be good for your health, and people are, oh, chocolate good for your health, a little bit of chocolate, and then unfortunately again, there's a lack of education from I think everywhere, really.
It's lashing it down here.
Yeah, the same. It's literally just gone over dark now. It's that storm now, isn't it? It's going to batter us again. But yeah, people then eat people buy like 36p bar of chocolate and say, oh, chocolate is good for you, and we'll just eat it. Well, in fact, that's not really the chocolate that's good for you. That's a totally different thing. It's one of those. But anyway, right, another thing. Apparently, so yellow stickers, right? I thought that, again, they reduced them specific times, specific places.
It's a really bad line out.
Probably the storm or their excuse. Can you hear me okay?
On with the show.
Hey? Yeah. So yeah, apparently, because I thought yellow stickers reduce certain times, but apparently that they can actually change the yellow stickers, whether they do this or don't do this, if they expect a high footfall, because they monitor like literally.
That's right.
Can you hear me?
But that's everything the supermarkets sell falls into that category.
Oh, the line is bad, isn't it? Sorry. Can everybody hear us? Sorry, because you're like disappearing. Can you hear me? Are we all gone quiet? Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah, but it's,
it's massive.
Been a bit broken.
Sorry, really massive delay. Anyway, so that's my idea of the yellow stickers for people. But I think generally, as an everyday basis, is fine. But apparently, they do actually, because as I understand, right, if they know there are no secret order, but people that do bargain hunting, oh my God, there is a delay.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Because apparently, I've been told because I know some people that work in the local Tesco's, and apparently they know they have people that will come in before the charities come in to take the leftover stuff, and they will literally go into the reduced stuff. They pile up their trolley with all the bits in there, decide what they want, and then either dump the rest or take it. But there's some people that will stay and follow the trolley person to there to make sure that they get all of that. So as I understand, that's where then because they can monitor, they know exactly who comes in, obviously with all the cameras everywhere. So apparently then they can suddenly change and not reduce until that person's been. So the control they have over what they do, it's horrendous. But so apparently people saying they can hear us. Yeah, we are delayed with each other. Sorry. But anyway, so right, Mark, I'll let you talk about the most perfect fruit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about shapes and sizes, shall we, Mark? Over to you. I know you are. The perfect fruit that people, or not the perfect fruits that people don't want. But
well, you know my thoughts on fruit and veg, Anna. I've got no time for the fruit and veg inside the system. It's all crap. The problem we've got with the water, the stuff inside the system, most of it's hydroponically grown these days, so there's no flavour, no taste. It might be on the shelf and it might look good because it's covered in a peel. And it might last a long time, but where's the goodness, the nutrition, the vitamins, the minerals? There's nothing in it, and that's you'll notice when you go into a supermarket, you never see on a let's say a nice big cauliflower, you never see a big sign on it saying full of vitamins, minerals, and nutrition.
Yeah.
You don't ever see your nutritional value in the corner. How much of vitamins and minerals are in it. But what you do see, and this is one we need to cover out, is that this week the supermarkets have started putting in the corner your carbon on that product.
I've seen that on social media. I've seen on social media. I think I don't believe that yet. I think this is a carbon for the packaging, not for the product. But I haven't seen enough.
It's for the product.
Right. I haven't seen yet. But just quickly with the fruit stuff, I was talking as well about the the supermarket's only taking the good-looking fruits and vegetables and dumping millions of tons of food that they won't take because it's apparently not an attractive thing. And you know what? It actually horrifies me, and I don't really understand where the whole thing came about. The idea is that, oh my God, this apple has to be universal size, universal color. Everything has to be identical and the same. I don't understand, where did this come about? If you buy apples by the kilo, then they're different sizes, so what? So I've got a little one, we've grown our own apples, and she takes a little apple, and for her, tiny little apples that grew is just sufficient. So I might choose to buy some of them. Why is the need coming from of making everything look so perfect? So what, it fits in the perfect, packaging of the, plastic? It's horrendous though.
Yeah, but they need that because, Anna, if every orange is the same size, they know what carbon footprint you've covered in the next year. So if you go in and you buy an orange, an apple, a banana, they've already given them a carbon footprint, so they know what carbon you've had and used. So that's how they're going to tax you in the future.
Yeah, but
so bear that in mind, that when you go in, they've got to get everything the same. Otherwise, someone will say, "Well, I only bought a small apple." Someone will say, "Well, I had a big apple." No, they can't. They can't deal with the carbon factor then. So they've got to have everything to fit in the same sizes.
Yeah, would that be per kilo, surely? Anyway, per kilo weight, wouldn't it? That'd be per kilo price anyway, and your carbon will be per kilo of something, surely. But we don't really know.
When you buy oranges, you would buy them as an each price.
Yeah, but you can still buy all pack.
Oh, you want to? Yeah. There's a white paper out. There's a white paper out today.
Yeah.
There's a white paper out today. I'll send you it. I got sent it this morning. It's mind blowing. I'll send it to you today.
What about the carbon stuff?
All about the carbon usage. What we're going to have to not be allowed to use. It's the governmental white paper. It's scary. Yeah, when you really is kind of coming, but like that soon, it's a bit scary. But my point is as well with the waste stuff. They're all going on about, and they're trying to fight the food waste, right? Let's talk about this, and trying to fight the food poverty and all that sort of thing, right? And yet tons and tons of food is wasted. So they're coating our fruits and vegetables and all the other crap, right? Just in the name of, we don't want to do food waste. And what's Tesco's and the supermarkets doing, right? By rejecting all misshaped carrots and apples and cauliflowers and broccolis, tons and tons of food goes to waste. And as you say, Mark, they're not allowed to let people take it or glean the fields. So you're telling me they're coating, say, a ton of perfect apples, coating them so this ton doesn't go to waste, in your fridge, is better than wasting 100 of tons of the apples that they rejected. What a absolute nonsense. Yeah. It just makes no sense at all. Anna, I've been on cauliflower fields when they've been cutting for Tesco's, and they cut 20% and plough 80% in, or leave them for animal feed.
Yeah.
80% waste.
Yeah, and the cauliflower head is like what, pound 20 or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Right, before we move on, does anybody got any other things for now? I think they're chatting between themselves for now. Right. Okay. So, right, let's briefly touch about the loyalty cards. I'm gonna how much information they are keeping. So loyalty cards, how loyal? Are they all for loyalty or are they all for information grabbing? I think a lot of people know, don't they, what they're there for in terms of the consumer data and following things. And I think on the last talk I mentioned.
Anna, do you know how much a month's worth of loyalty knowledge? So if you go in and use your loyalty card in the supermarket, they sell your information at £72.50 per month.
Wow.
That's how much your information's worth, just for one person.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'll tell you, I'm not gonna do the ruin the thing, but I'll do the video on that. What are they currently doing is horrendous. So what you think now? They're collecting the data. We knew this. They're collecting the watching, like what you spent, blah blah blah. But to the extent what they're going to be doing, I've actually had an email from Tesco. Anyway, I'll do this without being a spoiler. I'll do this. I think, although to some extent we know, it's quite a bit worse now to what's going to be happening than just for them, basically just collecting data for them to just, give you on the PDA your deals and stuff. It's really naughty. It's really naughty. And I'm glad in a way now I don't really shop in Tesco's unless I need to go and buy some baked beans or something. I'll pop in there. But generally, yes, unfortunately, it's horrendous. So again, as well, supply chain issues quite often, again, done by PR, similar to the shelving, believe this or not. So half of the time, that shit that we see, sorry, I got to stop saying the word because YouTube doesn't like it and advertisers don't like the word. Probably the most word of truth really to what's currently happening. I'm not allowed to say it too many times, God forbid. Yes. What was we talked about it before. Was it the milk shortages or something else? I think not the last conversation we had, but before, when things due to the weather or due to supply chain issues.
Yeah. Anna, they'll blame anything on supply chain issues. What they do is they hold stuff up in the system to force the price up.
Yeah, deliberately,
That's what they do. And we saw this during the pandemic, and I have to say, I had this firsthand. So I was going into the store in Bury St Edmunds, the Tesco store, and I was picking up stuff that they told the public wasn't available, and we were taking it to feed our animals with it. They were deliberately making food shortages a thing so that to scare the public and fear the public into what was going on.
Right. Yeah, because that says the things like they quite often will say due to the Brexit, the weather, the driver shortages, the import cost, but generally they're either just covering up their own fuck-ups or generally just doing that deliberately. Again, surely, right, with our incompetent government, right, we'll still have some sort of legislations or something just to say, do you know what, it's unethical. It's more than unethical. It's kind of, it's roundabout the control, surely, roundabout way of controlling people and conditioning yet again in a different way, isn't it? We froze again. Are you froze?
Anna, we know this is all about control.
Yeah. Sorry, so somebody put Belgium gave 100 million.
We know this is all about control.
Yeah. So somebody just put there, Belgium gave 100 million for a new glass plant. Well, they're talking.
Am I?
Say again. We are so delayed. This is terrible. So what's about the glass plant? Were they talking about a massive greenhouse? Did you see the comments?
I think that was recycling, wasn't it? They just put 100 million into a new glass recycling plant.
Oh, I don't know. So they said glass plant. It could be, couldn't it?
Gone again?
Yeah, sorry. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Can we hear me? Are we back? We're back in the room, back in the room, back in the room. Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So all right then, the fake farms, Mark. We vaguely covered that fake. Yeah. Fake
I don't
farms.
think they want us talking about what we're talking about today, guys. So big apologies from everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, 5-second delay is hilarious. I know, I can imagine. Like, he's nodding, I'm like, no, he's like, yeah. Right. Our hourglass. So they're taking, okay, Belgium going to take our glass. I'm sure we can recycle our own glass, can't we? No, mind you, we do bugger all recycling, don't we?
We couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery in this country.
But apparently we're having a plastic recycling where you get paid, like in majority of European countries, where you put your bottles, plastic bottles in tins, and you get some pennies to come across from your shopping. Yeah. I've heard this. Yeah, which is 2027. It's like not being funny, right? Anything else is in the agenda. They're like, here, wait, there, let's do this. It's really important to do this now. Oh, yeah, recycling. We'll have to give you some money. Oh, let's wait about a couple of years, and then we'll see what happens. We'll maybe put one in one Tesco, see how this goes. If it doesn't work, we spend a few billion, but no, not really a good idea. We'll just put this in the black bin bag like we do anyway and chuck it on the field, or just ship it somewhere else and just dump it in the sea. So there we are. Right, fake farms.
Well. That's favourite.
Yes, I thought so. We started on that and digressed. So yes, fake farms. So
I love when you go into a supermarket and it says Rose Cottage Farm grew these carrots, and then you check and there's no such farm as Rose Cottage.
Yeah.
And they've got hundreds of them, Anna, across all the supermarkets. They've got hundreds of these alleged farms that and what they do. This is the stuff what comes in from overseas.
Yeah.
That's what
So
that is. This is stuff what comes in through farm washing, through red tractor, and they let it get packaged in the UK. Sorry, not produced, packaged.
Yes, packaged.
And then wash it in water and say it's British water, so they can class it as British fruit and veg. From a supermarket from a farm that doesn't even exist. It's BS.
But people need to understand, right? Because it is one of those. Because we are, the agenda is for people that want to trust little farms, buy more local, like with the Union Jack thing or the Welsh thing. It's kind of, if that's what you want to do, you're automatically drawn to that. So when we're talking about the fake farms, to explain to the guys, say the apples, the strawberries, majority of the prepackaged stuff that's in like either the bag or the plastic or the thing, he says the strawberries or apples, they go like you say, Greenland farm or this farm. They're not actually farms. They're just nothing but a ploy to make you think that you invest in your hard-earned money into a small local farm that's local after all, because quite often they have little flags, they have little pictures of a local man that does the farm, but in fact all of that is just fake, is a pretend packaging to make people believe. And again, since when we have a local like woodland farm from Devon and then the strawberries inside are from bleeding Egypt, right? This is the important thing for people to look into. But this is the biggest and horrendous thing that they could possibly do. And to me, this is like misrepresentation. Again, the labeling, just stop this nonsense of trying to telling us that the local farm in Devon imports the strawberries from bleeding Egypt. Just stop it. Just, do you know what I mean?
But it's all in the wording, Anna. It's all in the wording, darling.
I know, but you have to read the small print just to buy your fruit and veg, Oh, so somebody said they looked up the legal term for the farm and it was an eye-opener. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah. Yes, there's loads. But yeah, somebody said that red track is supposed to be the hallmark. Yeah. I don't know if I covered the red tractor thing. All of those, call them governing bodies or whatever they are. They are technically governing bodies, but they're all charities. They're all taking themselves, like making themselves $100,000 a year, the CEOs, before bleeding money go anywhere else. All done as a backhanders, trying to, I don't even know who give the charity the rights to put their bleeding stamp on our food. You're a charity, right? So nobody controls you, and you make yourself a governing body, put the stamps out there that mean absolutely nothing. But yet they pretend, oh yeah, red tractor, yeah, go, good, healthy. The same is with, what was the other one?
Soil Association.
A what?
Not Soil Association?
Yeah, that as well. That's just as much of a con, I'm going to call it that. It just...
Oh, Anna, they're all a con. All of these groups will claim to be looking after public interest. It's all BS. You've only got to look at the lion stamp on eggs. That's another one.
Well,
they're just
somebody
nonsense.
just put that in there.
Oh, yeah. This is the problem. We're governed to believe that, because it's got a crown on it or, a beautiful tractor on it, and a Union Jack, it must be the best you can possibly buy. No, it's just shite. And
but
it's shite produced for supermarkets.
Yeah, but do you know that a red line stamp is meant to be like, is this stamp of quality of this? The red line stamp, that means that the chickens are being jabbed. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like a lot of people that think they're looking for those things don't expect, because people against that, they were more organic, more natural. But
absolutely,
the little that they tell you, they say, yes, we are in for for the better quality eggs, welfare of the chickens. Yep. Right, it's not. It's just there for claim the just claim the logo. And it's not even, it's optional. It's optional. And to have this, even for the lion thing, you don't even have to have, or don't have to tick every single box to put the lion thing on your eggs, right? No. They're optional. It's like out of, 4, 5, 10, I really can't remember. But it's optional, opt in, opt out. And it's optional whether you do this to the chicken. But what's not optional is your chicken have to be, done with
and what's also not optional is the fact if you pay for the license or not. So what you've got to understand with lots of these certification you can get, it just depends if you pay for it or not. It doesn't mean what you do is correct. It just means you've paid for the license to say you're qualified to put that stamp on it. Soil Association is a classic. the fact that I have to pay £500 a year to an organisation to tell me I've not used chemicals. Well, how do they know if I've used them or not? Surely I'm the one who knows.
Yeah. No, they just want you money. That's the idea, isn't it?
Of course it is. It's not. It's just about the £500 a year. It's not about anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, but it proves you've done it right and we've checked you. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
They come out and they do a soil sample of one section of the field. Well, that don't mean nothing.
Yeah. I know. Anyway, so next one we had, we did this actually before, sorry, the British stamped food, like be the apples or the bakeries, say even if they bake the fresh stuff and you see them do this, the ingredients or the fruits or something else, 99% of time is actually imported. So again, it really opens up the fact, like we're talking about the how vulnerable we are with the imports and stuff. And it's not just the obvious things, but it's very little things that are hidden within our everyday lives that are impacted by the imported stuff. So we literally are really stuffed. The more I look into this and do research into every single thing, we're just done for, really. If something got happened, we are done. We are literally absolutely done.
And
so,
you know that I've built my whole tour, which I've just completed after 7 months, all on the background of what is going on, how the food supply is being pulled to bits, broken down, and just how vulnerable we are as an island is scary at the moment. You know, we're heading under 30% production this year of what we actually produce in the UK, and that's scary. That's really scary.
It is. It's only going to get worse, isn't it?
If they have their way,
yeah. Right. Next thing, the meat and the countries. Oh, that is so basically it's produced in the UK. When you see this, so chances are the meat's imported, either fresh or frozen, and it's just been processed in the UK. It doesn't mean animals are from here. So basically, chicken, right, which normally comes either from Poland or Thailand, or now in fact USA, could be still end up labeled as UK produce.
100%.
Pretty much the same way as you said about the fruits, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. So all they do is do this, what they deem as farm washing. So they bring it into the country, sell it to a wholesalers who supplies it into a farm that has a pack unit, and the minute it goes into that pack unit, it's then deemed as British. So
yeah, that's what I'm about to actually ask you. You said about the big warehouse that they do this with like vegetables. Don't they? Literally, stuff comes in, gets what you say packaged.
Yeah. So the way around it is, you know, they'll put a Union Jack on the packaging. They'll put a nice name on the packaging called, you know, Rose Cottage Farm, and then, you know, so your assumption is looking at the package and it's British, and then somewhere in a bit of wording about that big, it will say, you know, produce of whatever island it is around the world, you know, with 27,000 carbon points on it. And you know, that so they're letting the public believe at this point that it's British, so they can lie to them about how far their food's traveling. But at some point they'll want to spin that round, because they'll want us to know how far our food's traveling.
Well, that's my point. My question to you now then, how does it going to work with the carbon credits then? Because the meat, right, the whole agenda of this, the meat say call it ASDA, right? Say lamb, New Zealand, New Zealand, New Zealand, New Zealand, New Zealand, or New Zealand lamb $7.99, Welsh lamb $14.99. How the hell is that? And how is that we over the years, due to the treaties and the things we have between them, suddenly I have to buy New Zealand lamb rather than the Welsh lamb in the supermarkets, for example, and then in New Zealand they have all the Welsh lamb. Where's the sense in that? Where's the sense in fighting the climate freaking change if you're then shipping products that are the same from country to country out of the sake of what exactly? Oh, we had an agreement. Oh, goodness.
You know as well as I do, Anna, this is not about this is not about carbon reduction.
No, obviously not.
This is about meat reduction. It's not about carbon reduction. The biggest animals on the planet that we farm, cows, for instance, it's proven that they reduce the amount of carbon on the planet, not input to carbon. They're a carbon neutral animal. So all we need to do is increase the amount of cattle in the world, and that will reduce the carbon. They don't want to reduce the carbon because they want to tax us on it. It's a nonsense.
It is. But how are they going to spin this around? That's what I'm interested. So we have less and less local meat. So it's now imported meat.
Anna,
so then slowly...
They don't need to spin it round. They need, when they bring this in, they'll then use it to their advantage, because then they'll say, oh, the carbon footprint on the New Zealand lamb, what is, worth, like you said, £7.99, we'll have a carbon credit on it of 50 points, and an English lamb, what's £14, will have a carbon credit of 3 points. So what they'll do is they'll force you to buy the most expensive to reduce your carbon footprint.
Yeah.
That's why they're going to use it. That's how they're going to use it against us.
Yeah, but it's just horrendous, though. It's horrendous. But the prices as well. The prices are, I know many people, it's just ridiculous. It's meat. It is becoming unaffordable. They're slowly, I wouldn't even say they're slowly doing this, right? They're doing this, the beef, right, doubled in price since pretty much last year.
Yeah.
Right, and the packaging, like half a kilo of mincemeat. And obviously they now, in a lot of cases, the package is the same, but rather than 500 grams, it's now 450 grams. So like, you'd be like, oh, that's a bit, not a lot. And there's now suddenly, if you look at the Tesco's prices for mincemeat, it's honestly, I picked up one. It was, I think, is in reduced thing. It was $7.99 reduced. It was not. I think it was 700 grams. And I'm like, whoa, how much was it full price? If it's now £8 for not even like, do you know what I mean? And that's reduced. It's ridiculous. Again, you can see when they're saying they don't want us to eat meat, they will price out a lot of people out of eating meat.
Well, that's what they're doing already. That's where we are at the moment. And you see it with farmers. So what they've done is they've priced meat this year is really expensive. So great for the farmers selling the animals.
Yeah.
When they're going into auction, they're worth good money. But now they can't afford to replace the stock. Yeah. Because they've if you've got a farm that's got £100,000 overdraft, right, and you've got 30 cows and you send them to auction at £3,000 each, and you think to yourself, well, that's a bonus, I've cleared £90,000 of the overdraft, right? Yeah. The bank, who then doesn't want you because they've been told by the WEF they're not allowed to fund you to put cattle back on the farm, then withdraw your overdraft, and you then can't afford to replace the animals. And this is what's going on. People have got no idea. Just the twistedness of what's going on is really scary. Well, this is what we're here for, trying to unleash the truth. But today's day, it's madness. I love meat. I love beef. And I said, well, if I get this on the deals, I'm all for it. And I'm surprised, to be fair, they're still allowing this to go on the sales. But a bit interesting to know, right? Because when I get, if I get meat, it comes around obviously the sale times, majority of times, which twice a year. We've got the Easter and then the Christmas time, where the big joints are obviously going to the full price, goes to the reduced price. And as I said, I don't have a butcher near me, and I can't afford, to be fair, and I many don't. If you want to stock up, say with meat, like a massive, leg of lamb for like 40 quid or something. But last year, are you frozen? No. Last year, they were doing it rather cheap. So, and I remember you can buy a pork, £3 a kilo for the joint. I think the beef was £6, which was rather good, and the lamb, I think it was £7.50 per kilo. Yeah. Looking at the prices now, I very much doubt that the Christmas time is going to be affordable for many people, because for some reason I just don't think they're going to be dropping. And you've also got to bear in mind, Anna, that this year we're losing. Did you say? Now you know that I predicted 6 months ago that we'd have the slaughtering of animals this year, whether that's blue-tongued bird flu, TB, whatever. That's already started across the country. They lost 300,000 birds the other day, one cull. Yeah. That's already coming into play. So that's, again, going to force the price of meat up again. Yeah. But have you seen... Oh, sorry. We're going to see this all across the country. Yeah. But you see, that was really sad as well. A couple of months back, there was a poor farmer, I think it was in Wales, a flash flood, killed 300 sheep in one day. Did you see that? I'm not convinced that was new news, and I'm not convinced that was true. Oh, really? Two of the people who put it up were asked to remove it because that apparently was something that happened several years ago. Oh, okay. Yeah. Proves the point then, actually. But you think I think it came from the farmer. At least you try to make your, we can't believe everything we see, but you kind of make a choice, What they do is they'll renew certain things at a point to... If they want the excuse to put meat up, they'll drop things like that into the news so that people assume this is the truth and assume it's actually happening. They're devious. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen a video and but you see, if it happened before, I thought I felt really bad for the farmer. I almost cried because I showed sheep up in
like in water after there, and obviously, you know, drowned type of thing. It's horrible. Shame on people that freaking do that, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. So, so we covered
That's
the bread.
the world we live in. They'll do anything to sell something, they have more money.
Yeah. So we've done the fresh bread. We've done that. I found it now. So yeah, the same briefly, but the people just be aware, and I'm sure many are really. But the farm fresh, butcher style, barn, that kind of thing, with all these fancy pictures of everything else. Farm fresh means nothing. Barn means nothing. Picture of the barn means
Not
nothing.
anymore.
Butcher style means nothing. What does that mean? Because the packaging, and it's quite often they do again, I think playing on people's not people's human, I don't know, like how a brain works. You know, there's a new packaging for the dearer meat, like what they mean by the butcher style. Excuse me. They basically package it in a nice card tray, or with a wrapped up with a bit of like grease paper or drawn grease paper on the packaging to make people believe like, oh yeah, butcher style, that means, you know, maybe butchered it, you know, that kind of thing. But again, it's all of that. Excuse me. Again,
Anna, one of the things we're going to have to be careful of moving forward as well, especially, is the fact that people are going to have to be really careful about looking out for what the meat is. So is it real meat or is it lab grown meat? Because that's starting to slide into the supermarkets without people knowing.
Yeah, I don't know what stage they're in. I think they're doing this in the little bits, but I don't think it's commercially viable to produce on a massive scales yet. But then there's so many countries are doing this right now. Not just like, it's not just few. They all
we know what they'll do. We know the minute they've got the cattle out of the way, then it's viable, because if they can push meat prices from being £3 a kilo to £9 a kilo, then you've leveled up the cost of what it's worth to produce false meat. That's what they're doing. So they're pushing the price of real meat up while they're bringing the cost of fake meat down.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. So what
and do you know how much carbon it bleeding takes to print the freaking lab meat?
Don't go there. It's
again,
nonsense,
logic.
Anna. We know that.
Logic. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, I want to talk about the meat stuff. I've noticed I've got Morrison's. Well, it's not. It's like 45 minutes drive from me or something, which is I found actually really good for the butchers, for people that don't have to check them out, and for the fishmongers as well. They seem to have like the same as a Booker, to be fair. I know they're part of Tesco's, but you can see them right there openly butchering stuff. There's none of this hiding, although the meat still can be imported, but chances are probably not in the whole, like half a carcass. Kind of a little bit more fake. At least you can actually see them physically doing this and butchering it apart, and their packaging is good and kind of looks, so to me, I'm like, oh, I'll check this out. I bought some prawns from them before, and again, I'll do the video on the prawns. Horrendous what they're doing to the packaging. But they sell like all in proper, like you do in the market that I can buy in Swansea. A whole prawns, like £2.50 prawn on the market, and I think it's like £1 in the Morrison's. Proper, still shells on, they're still fresh, like there. But they are buy it now, eat it now type thing. They're not packaged in anything but a tray. But for anybody, if you guys don't have butchers or fishmongers, is a good place to check this out. Right. So what we got next? Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, the stickers. Sorry, go on.
I'm conscious we're at 58 minutes, so depending on how long we're going to be here.
That's not long. We're literally pretty much there, and then you can talk about the somewhat a solution. Yeah, are you in a hurry?
No.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, we only got well, one actually, because I already talked about the huge marketing. But yeah, the dates on the stickers, right? It's a grey one, but apparently when you have the expiry date on the cakes or on the donuts or that kind of thing, they quite often repackage that, and then they just put the sticker over this and packaged on. But quite often some of that produce is actually a day old. And I know I heard about this in States where there's a horrendous amount of fraudery going on, where they sell say, you know, the little flannel tarts, you know, with fruit on the top and the jelly, and they'll sit there, and if it doesn't get eaten after X amount of time, you know, fruits start to be wilting, so they pick it up, scrape stuff on the top, put some fresh fruit on it, new jelly, and they keep the same cream and the tart underneath. So apparently in some instances stuff gets repackaged and just put packaged today, but in fact, because it's best before no use by date, I don't know like how true this is, but that's what That's what I found out.
I think sadly, food repackaging goes on all around the world, and that especially with meat, that's one of the things which is the biggest repackaged product in. It'll come in from all over the world. You know, it is at that point not really good for human consumption. So they then package it, send it out to supermarkets. Lots of that ends up getting repacked again and again and again. It's really supermarkets. You can't trust them. Get away from them.
No. Somebody's asking, is it better to buy from farmer shop or the butchers? Well, it depends where you've got local, I suppose.
Yeah, and I would say that meat from a butcher's, there is more chance it's a good quality meat than anything you buy from the supermarkets, because it's pre-packed. Anything that's
he's asking about plastic, the farm shop. They're talking about the farm shops.
Yeah, and farm shops. So most farm shops do not have their own butcheries. You know, the reality is they don't have it. Some of them do, but most of them don't. So what you'll find is that people who are the meat suppliers around the country, who work with the farmers, will supply the farm shops. And you'll get a better quality meat than from any butcher or farm shop than you'll ever get out of the supermarket, because all farm shops are worried about is selling good quality produce. Supermarkets don't give a flying Frederick what it is. All they're worried about is producing a profit for the shareholders.
Agree, totally agree. And then last one, I just thought that's going to be, we touched on this before, but basically the food that people think, again, potatoes, apples, pears, plums, peaches, carrots, parsnips, Brussels sprouts. In a lot of cases, all of that stuff sits on the back of the supermarket in the cages for months. And specifically, we know we're talking about apples and potatoes. Apples would be could be pushing 6 months to a year old when you get them. Same as with the potatoes, unfortunately. And so this year, is the obvious one is actually pumpkins, because I've grown my own. The ones I have when I film on my kitchen, in the kitchen island, they are my own grown pumpkins. And unfortunately, they ripened a month earlier. There's nothing you can do about it. And all of the supermarkets now got in the pumpkins 1 month earlier. But what's happening? Obviously, they've been sitting back, like the guy I spoke to the guy in Lidl. They've been sitting in the back for a month before they got them out. So now I bought one, right, the really ugly one. They did a speciality pumpkin. It covered it like pimples. Anyway, for the decorated for a little one and all that. And I left it in a cool porch, and it started to go manky. And because I sat there for such a long time, a lot of people were disappointed. And I wanted to kind of do a video and say, guys, like, if you want one, get one and put this somewhere really, really cold, because they'll just have them sitting there, especially if you come to buy last minute. The ones they sit in the bottom of the pallet with all that weight will just start rotting away. And you can see now, they stink. You go in there anyway. I see them selling. They're totally buggered, because, again, stuff sits there and it only comes out when it's needed, or when it's needed. And the same with the veg. When the veg come out at the Christmas time, you'll see by the time they pile up the massive pallets, they're already sat there in the back. So by the time you get to the bottom of the pallet, all the carrots and parsnips are going to be really wrinkly and limp, because, well, they sat there for a bit, for probably a good couple of months, and now they're in the front in the warmth. So there we are.
Yep.
There's far more of the other things, which I'm sure I forgot to mention. They'll creep up somewhere, but we can see how untransparent the whole situation is with the supermarkets, what they're doing to us, how they make us behave, or trying to make us behave and change our habits. Just it's what it is. It's over to you, Mark, to your update on the some water solution for some, at least. We lost you again.
Well, because someone put in, it's all good and well talking about the bad stuff, but what about the solutions? And solutions are the important bit, Anna. And
well, that's what we're talking about.
As you know, 7 months have been touring, been going around the UK, doing this Land's End to John O'Groats tour to talk to farmers, growers, producers, butchers, bakers, candlestick makers. And we've been building the foodfindershub.org along the way. And that is a directory where people can go to find their local farmers. Now, bear in mind, we've got about 350 of them on there so far. We've got thousands more to get on there. We know that, but we're making progress. Now, this week, we've added 2 real great features. One, from our side, we've added a donation section on there, because so many people have been asking how they can get involved and donate. The other is a volunteer section, because people have been asking right across the country, how can we get involved in what's coming? And what we're trying to put together as the CIC, the Community Interest Company, in the background, we're trying to put together a new food system. Exclude supermarkets. We're trying to get everyone away from the supermarkets, and that's going to take time. Bear in mind, they've had 100 years to build the food supply chain they're now supplying us with. We need time to put it to bits. So this is about getting all the people across the country to buy into what this is about. And what we're trying to achieve is, if the public want change, then get involved and help us. So some people are saying, okay, well, look, I'd like to work on a community farm if there's one near me. Some people are saying, well, I'd like to, sort out producing a food hub, for instance, or, and then I could go and help in the food hub. I could do deliveries for the food hub. Some people want to go and help a farmer grow food. Let's say if the farm's now starting to think about, if they're a dairy farm, they're now thinking we could grow some vegetables. Some people are on that trail of going to help the farmers grow good quality food. Now, this, for me, is about stepping away from the supermarkets and the poisonous food what they provide us. So I want people to start looking at their local farms, their local community farm shops, local farmers markets, box schemes, people who deliver direct to their door, people like the Good Food Project or Organity, for instance, who deal in the food hub side of things, and actually start to look at where they're buying their produce and what they're buying, how they can get the more profit of that back to the farmer, producer, grower, more so than the supermarket shareholders, because that's just an absolute, all they're concerned about is the profit, not the product. So that product, it doesn't matter how bad it is for you as a consumer, they're not worried about that. They're just worried about making sure the shareholders get their, what was it, Tesco's last year, 6.4 billion profits. It's a nonsense. What we now need to do is to work on a principle system where we, the consumers and farmers, work together to produce something and get it to the consumer in the least possible miles with the best quality product with the least possible time. And that's what people should be thinking about, the nutritional value of their food. So if people want to go to the foodfindershub.org, they can sign up as a volunteer. There's a list of different options, and we're going to be doing this county by county, Anna.
Right.
So we're putting in place county organisers, and the county organisers will then organise the volunteers in that area to put them to, work at doing different things, including people have asked, can they get involved in helping Leaflet, for instance, to promote the site? Because the site, obviously, 350 farmers on there, lots of them ship directly to the public. They don't have to go to the farm, they can have it shipped to their door. And that's where we need to be now, working together. And that's the only way we're going to break this bullshit system.
So what about, just kind of, I saw somebody talking about the walnuts. I think they collected like a lot of walnuts. Again, there's a tons of, obviously, the foraging. We're vaguely touching the foraging, but things like the trees, right? The nut trees. You've got a lot of hazelnut trees about, walnut trees somewhere, obviously, luckily enough. Again, it's such an untapped resource in terms of, like, I love walnuts, right? As a snacks, I make the little, the bars, oat bars with the nuts and everything else as a, as a healthy snack type thing. Like, wouldn't it be nice to be able to have somebody say, I don't know, find the walnut tree, or either report it, or, like, I don't know, harvest them or tell people, and then spread this free resource, because nuts are really healthy, especially if they're obviously naturally grown. You're the one that's touching them, you're the one that's cracking them. What would be like amazing thing, wouldn't it? I would love to have a kilo, of the walnuts to be able to stand there and do this. I remember going somewhere, a long time ago on a holiday when I was little, and there was the walnuts just literally inside of the houses, and you go to pick them up. It's like, wow, what a luxury in a way of having, and it's God-given food. It just grows there, and you want to have it, And it's just been nice to find a way of also reaping those free rewards that don't take anything but somebody to go and harvest them, than to get yourself something healthy and,
Yeah, I think it's one of the things as we're going to roll forward. It's one of the things we're going to add to the site. We've had lots of inquiries from people asking, can we do this, and this? And I think that listing things is going to be essential as we roll forward to where people can find, I drove out the other day and we must have passed about 40 apple trees on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And it's like, you only see them this time of the year because the apples are on the floor.
Yeah.
So it's like, so I was going along marking out where they were on, what's that, just 3 words?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on that, what 3 words I think it's called?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
So
for
I
your
was
safety,
marking
isn't it?
out the you know, the mapping. I was mapping them out on my three on what 3 words, and I
Yeah.
thought, imagine if everybody did that right across the country.
Yeah.
You know, we've done it. We did it while we were on the tour with natural springs and rivers, what we could drink out of it and things like that. You know, just points where you could get to water was another thing we did that for. And these are all things what I think the public's got to take ownership of again and start realizing that government don't care if you haven't got any food.
Yeah.
Supermarkets don't care if they sell you poisonous food. So start taking some ownership of your own stuff again, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But that would be good. It's well done. Obviously, it's taken was it over a year now to get the food finders to the stage it is now. Just taking time, isn't it? It needs people to spread. People like somebody saying they're going to be obviously sharing this. We do need to genuinely. I know it's going to be. It's not a quick fix, though. Unfortunately, it's not a quick fix. But I think the more there are going to be things that are happening that people realize how rubbish their food is currently, what they're doing to our food, and B, how volatile we are. If something else happens and we are, you can see a lot of the news right now. We're really pushing some like agendas or some, I can't use the word because obviously YouTube doesn't like it, but the conflict stuff, we're so bloody close. Like we're so really knocking on the door of something like not good, right? Because we just can't leave it alone. And if that happens, the whole system, it's just out of the window, out of the window. Excuse me.
Yeah, we are on a very vulnerable point at the minute. I think that's why people have got to start looking for solutions. You know yourself, Annie, you've been heavily involved yourself in growing your own food this last years. And people are starting to step towards that way. I think there's going to be, we've got to start looking at more homegrown stuff. We've got to start looking at more community farms. We've got to start looking at working with the farmers to produce better quality food all round.
Yeah. See, I think for many, I had an allotment. And I always wanted one. I've been on the, on the list for allotments in Brighton for like 7 years. I ended up moving because it was just not happening. And when I moved here, I got an allotment through a friend, shall say that I had two. But then unfortunately I had to abandon the ship because of it was a locally, rather than council run, it was like a local run allotment. And unfortunately the guy that was running, it was an absolute. So I had to exit the allotments, and but the best thing when I got this, the feeling that I had of having that little piece of land that was 10 by 10, and then I could do anything. And my initial thoughts, wow, I'm so happy. I think I almost cried because I thought, you know what? Even if I just put half of this potatoes, half of garlic, or something else, without much of an effort, because potatoes just grow, don't they? And I was so happy, and I was so bummed that I lost them, or I had to made a choice to give them up for personal reasons. But we've got so much land, and you say farmers have got so much land. I've emailed my council to say there's people want to have allotments. There's not enough allotments. And like, oh yeah, there's an allotment out there. It's an hour's bloody drive by the motorway. No, thank you. It's not feasible. You've got plenty of land around us. We're in the mountains filled around us constantly. I don't want to drive over an hour for allotment. It's just not. It's not good for the environment. It's not good for anything. I wouldn't be able to maintain that. Give me land here, tons of land around in Wales, loads of land. And I think there'll be a lot of people that are in a position like I am, that I have a small garden that's literally built on the tarmac, okay, with a couple of raised beds, and a lot of people that don't have gardens or really small gardens. We need land. We need to find a way of people to have an access to just a little bit of land. Just imagine you really only need, say, 10 by 10 per family to be able to make themselves at least 50% self-sufficient in food. Just that little bit of land. It's so little to ask, isn't it? But that's what I think a lot of people find to go forward.
That's all about control, Anna, isn't it? They don't want us to have land because then we can produce our own food. It's like we mustn't have our own seed. They're trying to make seed illegal. That if we, farmers don't hold seed anymore of their own seed. That's been frowned upon for years. So what we've not got to come up with now is a new food system. And that's what I come back to, what we're trying to create within the CIC and the Food Finder Hub is a new system, know, and, I want to be able to get us to the point that we can work with a seed company that produces good quality GMO seed, free seed, and, organic and chemical free, and it's got to be heritage, so it hasn't been messed about with, and it needs to be bloody, pollinated naturally. And we've got to look at all this stuff, and that's the excitement for me is we know how bad it is. We don't need to go on about it really anymore. For me, the excitement now comes that the people want solutions, want answers, and they're finding them. whether that's through permaculture, whether that's through electroculture, whether that's through aquaponics. People are starting to find different solutions to grow their food. And that is where, for me, that's where the system is starting to break down, because the system's stuck in 100-year-old transactional role, and it isn't changing. Yet everything around it's changing. People are wanting to produce their own compost, the better quality compost. You know yourself, when we were in Lincolnshire this year, we went to a farm that now makes the eco-green compost. That was mind-blowing to see that a farmer can produce compost on scale like that. And that's where we're going to. The industry isn't moving with, food industry isn't moving with it. So we've got to create that industry in the background and slowly push the old industry out of the way. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. But no, sorry, somebody says council is obliged to provide. Well, when they got in touch with me, they did say, well, because there is allotments like an hour away from me, she said, put yourself on the list in there. Because they had multiple allotments in the area, apparently that's their obligation is done. They're supplied enough, they're there. Just get yourself on the waiting list and then drive an hour if you wanted to. That was their response. But our council, is one of the worst, I think, for many things, including bleeding council tax. But that's a different range anyway. So there we are.
Well, you're under Labour, aren't you? So what do you expect?
Yeah, it's always in Wales. I think its majority has always been from the day one. It's just like ingrained into people. But then again, it's a lot of older generations here, and I think that, just like you said before, I think because parents voted, grandparents voted, you just do this because it's a habit rather than actually understanding what they're doing or not doing. You know, I think this is all about. So there we are.
Well, all
right. So any questions? Sorry.
Go on. I was going to say, I think we're going to see some big changes in the food industry, and a lot of those won't be for the positive. But I think what we're starting to see is a fraction within the food industry, and we're having the farmers that want to continue on the old route and the farmers that want to continue on the new route. And what we've got to do as the consumers is make a decision where we want to shop. If you want to shop in a supermarket, go down that road, and you know what you're going to get. It's no good moaning about it because it's shite. But if you want good quality food, now start looking for it, because the way to push the price down from farm shops is to use more of them. And that's the only way we're going to get the price down. And bear in mind that supermarkets in the last year have pushed the price of food through the freaking roof. Yeah. You know, the gap isn't as big as it used to be on farm shops and supermarkets, that's for sure. Yeah. So, you know, and that's one of the things I think people need to just keep revisiting and just ask themselves, look, do you want good quality food that's got nutrition in it and that makes you healthy so you don't need all the drugs in the background and the vitamins and minerals? Or do you want to keep going to a supermarket and buying crap? What makes you ill? Simple. It's just people. We need more of the. I think that's even occasionally there appears in Swansea city centre. There is a market that's been there for like hundreds of years, and they used to have fruit and veg, or veg really more so, in the middle. And I think only on Sunday morning or Saturday morning. I think they appear for a couple of hours, and the guy was selling the biggest cauliflowers, the biggest everything. It was great. It was only a few, but then it stopped. So now for me, I have no local, but bearing in mind, I do live literally in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and there's a farms about. There's no farm shops. There's no farm. I tell you what, there's a little corner of a farm shop in one of the post offices, but it sells cheese, local cheese, which I give you that, homemade bread, apparently they bake in store, and flour from Italy. But that's as local as we get there. But again, I think because I am literally in a bit of a, in the sticks. So yeah, anyway, there we are. So, okay then. Well, any questions, guys, before I totally lose my voice? I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to do my live stream on Sunday, because I think I'm going to lose my voice. Any questions at all, guys? Anybody? We lost some people, now we gained some people. People thought we're finished, now we continued. Yeah. Well, this is the problem, isn't it? They get to the hour and they go, I think they're finishing now, so I'll go off, and then other people pick it up. Sorry. Okay. No, I think we're good. I think that must mean if no one's got any questions, we must have concluded. Yes, we have. Okay. Lovely. Well, everybody, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you who's going to be watching us on the rewind after it eventually gets published. And well, it's going to be no live stream now next week because it's a half term, so I won't be able to sort of devote time doing this. So it's going to be the week after on Thursday, the same time. Hopefully, if all goes well. Yeah. No problem. Lovely. For me. All right, then, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you the week after next. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.